Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Tedesco of Wrestleview.com, the editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com, here for the 63rd edition of the Post-Raw show. And I am here to talk about maybe one of the weirdest episodes of Monday Night Raw in quite some time. It had a lot of best and worst ofs for the year. It had a lot of year milestones on this one. We had maybe not best of, I think mostly worst of, but there was easily what I would consider to be the best jobber match of the year by far on Raw tonight. Eric Rowan's best match of his WWE career was definitely on the show tonight. Seth Rollins making I wouldn't say history, but making news by turning heel, which it was implied for the last 2 weeks, and they followed through just on a heel turn, like a full-fledged heel turn on Kevin Owens tonight. He aligned himself with the AOP. That's some big news coming out tonight. And we had, look, the decade's not over yet. 2019, we still have about 3 weeks left before this year is officially kaput. And WWE made a concerted effort to produce they're trying to sneak it in there right at the end to produce maybe the absolute bottom of the barrel worst segment, not just of the year, but of the decade, with Rusev and Lana. Oh my God. Someone's going to tell you that this was good. Someone is definitely going to say, oh no, it was really good and the storyline is so well thought out and hey, gets views. They are not to be trusted. You are not to listen to those people. They are lying to you. This was absolute crap. I don't care how many people watch it. I don't care how many people watch it on YouTube. This was god-awful. Absolutely god-awful. We'll talk about it. The Rusev-Lana divorce angle was tonight. They kicked off the show with it too, believe it or not. But before we get in there, let's talk about, well, let's not talk about, but let's say hello to everybody in the chat room. I don't want to talk about you. I want to talk to you. All right, let's say hello to everybody here. We got Quentin Walters in the chat room tonight. Hey, he opened up the chat room tonight. I know that. I didn't watch the ending of Raw because I was too busy reading the brilliance of Mike's recap. That's what I'm talking about. Absolutely. Daniel Schell is in the chat room tonight. Excellent. Daniel Schell is in the chat room. Dan, where have you been, man? I hope somebody told him that I was looking for him last week. I mean, because it's been crazy that he hasn't been on the show. Nafi Sadat, our dear friend and longtime supporter, in the chat room tonight, all the way from Washington State. Andrew Elder in the chat room. Kit Dyson, hey Kit, how you doing? Mashoon Walls in the chat room, excellent. And if you're in the chat room and I haven't said hello to you yet, I know Billy Hefner is here as well. So hello to Billy. And if I haven't said your name yet, or if you come in late, just say hello and I'll say hello back to you. I try to be as interactive as possible with our viewing audience. Andrew asked me if I saw the AEW commercial during Raw. I'm gonna say I didn't see it. Simply because it's just I have to recap Raw and then write my thoughts and search for GIFs and all that stuff. So I definitely missed that AEW commercial tonight. I did not see it. Was it the one where they were having NXT destroy or AEW destroys NXT? Was it that one? I don't know. Daniel Schell, did Victoria build that treat or did you? I did. Right here. All the way. And I even decorated it too. Looks good. That little pink thing over there is Liliana's handprint. I did that as well, but Victoria had to hold her. But that was a nightmare to get her to do that ornament there. All right. Enough chit-chat. What should we lead off with first? My goodness. Okay. Oh, Andrew says that it pretty much told people to turn to TNT on Wednesdays. Well, it's a war. Thank you, Nafisa. Thank you. It is a good-looking tree, I think. I think it is. But this Wednesday Night War For those that wonder why I put so-called and Wednesday Night War on the NXT AEW ratings, it's because it's so-called because it's a war that exists online, really only. It's been dubbed on the internet wrestling community as the Wednesday Night War, so it's so-called, like that's what it is. Anyway, let's lead off with the Seth Rollins heel turn, because this was like, let's talk about something positive at first. Andrew says it was actually a shot at Raw as well. That's not hard to take. That's really, really not that hard. It's not hard to take shots at Raw. This show is it's a mess. It's a mess. It can be good and it can be god awful. And let's talk about the decent to good stuff tonight right now. Quentin wants to know, how's the princess, little Liliana? I will be giving an update on Liliana and Crimbus at the end of the show tonight. I promise you'll have Crimbus information and Liliana information by the end of the show. I swear. Okay. It's a thing for the sake of being a thing, Daniel says. Pretty much. Okay. So it just basically starts off. Kevin Owens he does this like weird promo with Charlie Caruso that gets no heat, partly because it came after the Rusev, Lana, Bobby Lashley debacle, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But he says that he's going to be looking for AOP tonight. He got jumped by them. He barely managed to escape. Remember last week they dragged him to the back and there was no like follow through. I'm like, what happened to Kevin Owens? Is he dead? Like, what happened to him? Apparently he's fine. He escaped, but this time he's going to be the one looking for them, so they're in trouble. Okay. He bumps into Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio says, "Oh, me and my homies will back you up." And he goes, "No, I'm good. He goes, "No, and Mysterio goes, "No, when I said my homie, it's my lead pipe here." He goes, "It's never let me down." And I'm like, do you not remember Survivor Series 3 weeks ago when it most definitely let you down? If it didn't let you down, you would be WWE champion over Brock Lesnar right now. So it most assuredly let you down. I promise you that thing did not come through for you. So Kevin Owens is looking all over for AOP backstage. He bumps into Mojo Rawley of all people. And Rawley is sending him all in different directions, saying, "Oh, I saw him go this way. Oh, wait, no, I saw him go this way." So Kevin Owens lays him out with a slap. And I was like, good, okay. I thought the once a year, 3-week push for Mojo Rawley was happening, and that looked like it got canceled out. Kevin Owens comes to the ring, calls out the AOP. Seth Rollins, I believe, comes out. Was it then? Okay, yes, it was Seth Rollins that comes out. They start to argue. Owens says that he knows that Rollins is with AOP. He's going to set him up, blah, 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 blah. They get into a little back and forth, and AOP shows up in a black SUV. Rollins walks off because he's mad at Owens. Owens calls out AOP, but instead Sami Zayn of SmackDown comes out with Mojo Rawley. And again, I'm like, oh no. Number one, I was like, didn't they say that the lines would be drawn, no crossover whatsoever after Survivor? That died at Survivor Series. That died with the Survivor Series build. It lasted not even a month. But the edict was there would be absolutely no crossover. Fox wants their stars on their show, and USA Network wants their stars on their shows. Like I said, that died with the Survivor Series build. But I figured that they would keep to it after Survivor Series. Nope. Sami Zayn's out here, and they give some half-assed excuse that he got a managerial license, and he is out here because he's taking exception with Kevin Owens for how he slapped Mojo frickin' Rawley in the face and embarrassed him. And then Rawley tries to talk tough to him, and Sami Zayn warns him. He says, "Oh, he's holding a lead pipe. Don't mess with him." And Rawley goes, "Well, everybody's tough when they hold a lead pipe." And Owens goes, "Oh yeah." And he throws him the pipe. Rawley catches it, and then Rawley takes the stunner. And at this point, we're only an hour into the show. I didn't even realize it was only 9 o'clock, and I was like, "God, this show is going so long." But the good news is this Mojo Rawley Sami Zayn thing hopefully is short-lived. Hopefully it's very short-lived. I bet you we'll see something with Rawley and Kevin Owens again. Probably next week. No, not next week. I'm sorry. Because Kevin Owens just got his face slammed into concrete, which we'll talk about momentarily. But I have a feeling we'll see a little more of Sami Zayn and Mojo Rawley before they give up on Mojo Rawley again. We almost went a full calendar year without the 3-week push for Mojo Rawley, but it looks like it's upon us. Ugh. What does everybody think of Mojo Rawley? Oh, God. To me, it's painful to watch. Absolutely painful to watch. Okay, so Kevin Owens goes backstage again, looks for AOP. Eventually, he catches up with their SUV. I'm trying to find where this is because it comes in later in the show. Catches up with their SUV and starts beating it with the lead pipe, just slamming it, cracking windows, breaks the side mirrors off, breaks the lock on the back door, and there's like this weird chair in the back. And I didn't think anything of it because I couldn't make out that there was somebody sitting in the chair. Owens went to go grab the chair or whatever, and then AOP comes and attacks him from behind. I couldn't find a gif of this, but like they took the back door of this SUV, or it looked like actually it kind of looked like a Sprinter or something like that, and they slammed it right into his head. And Owens, again, I talked about I forget when it was, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, how Owens takes these like hideous bumps, like really bad. Oh yeah, it was probably when he was doing the frog splash off the apron. He takes really just unnecessarily dangerous bumps in throwaway matches, even in big feuds. He's like, I've seen him get chokeslammed off a cage. I've seen him get chokeslammed on a ramp, off a ladder, through tables. Just like the guy, he's still human. It's like almost like he's a superhuman, but he's not. He is most assuredly a human being. He took this heavy door for a Sprinter or an SUV, whatever this thing is, right in the head. Didn't put a hand up. It just clobbered him right on the side of the head. I mean, it looked really, really bad. It's almost like this is the company where they have the strict concussion guidelines. I don't know how he wasn't checked upon immediately because it just looked that bad. And then, oh, you gotta see. I'll just show you the GIF because it's actually pretty good. This was a really kind of like, it's me, Austin kind of reveal. Seth Rollins was the one sitting in that back seat. Pulls off the hood. It's me, Owens. Kind of corny, but you know what? It's better than what they were doing with Seth Rollins. I'll say that. So he takes off the hood. It's revealed to be Seth Rollins. He steps out. He says he is sorry it came to this, and then he gives Kevin Owens the stomp on the concrete. Look at this. I mean, holy crap. That you can't even put it into words just how nasty that looked. I know that he didn't take, obviously, a full-fledged stomp into the pavement, but he still had to snap his head into that concrete there. That is ridiculously dangerous. Ridiculously dangerous. When they showed Owens being loaded in the ambulance later, you could see that there was definitely blood in his mouth and stuff like that. So, like, I can't imagine him, like, actual real damage being done there. Like it was just, to me, it just seemed like, was this completely necessary? Did they really need to go that far like that? And also, it's like a heel turn done backstage. I'm going to open this up to the chat room and ask, do you think it would have been more impactful for Rollins to turn heel on Owens in the ring and maybe do the stomp outside the ring or whatever, in front of the crowd where they could react, instead of like in this backstage segment where we're just kind of like, okay, it's nothing of real tremendous, unbelievable consequence ever really happens backstage. Did this have the same impact as it would have if it was in front of the crowd? I'm going to say no. I think the in-ring has more effect. Like you're going to get that instantaneous reaction from the crowd where they're going to be like, wow, whoa. They might, you know what? The only thing that I would say in defense of doing it backstage is that they would probably cheer the heel turn. They would probably cheer the heel turn because that's what people do nowadays. No one's really invested in characters anymore. No one's about because what's there really be invested about? They're more invested in just being there for a moment. A big moment. They want to just I like the whole Becky Lynch thing started, like her whole entire face run basically started at SummerSlam 2018 when she turned on Charlotte Flair. And she was supposed to be the heel, and they cheered her like crazy because the people were there. They weren't invested in the storyline. I mean, yeah, they wanted to cheer Becky Lynch anyway, but they were more excited about being there for a moment than they were actually invested in the story. So maybe being outside the ring kind of makes sense. I don't know, but it's still catch-22 because it's like then you lose that crowd reaction. There's no crowd reaction at all. So there's nothing, it just doesn't seem as impactful as it should. James says, I feel like Mike is staring into my soul and it's weird. I guess it's because I'm used to Victoria Mercy and a split screen. Yes, I know. I'm hoping Victoria comes back soon. I'm thinking we'll get her back. Okay, I'll give a little away for Crimbus. Victoria, I'm gonna say, probably not for the whole show, but Victoria will definitely be there when Crimbus starts for the Crimbus Spectacular. Yeah, James says, wake me when the Rumble matches start. Yeah, I know, seriously. Most people are saying in-ring. Daniel Shell says in-ring, more effect. Andrew Elder in-ring. Then they do team up and raise hands. Daniel Shell says in-ring makes sense for Michonne Walls as well. Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah, so everybody thinks in-ring. I have to say in-ring too, but I think maybe they did it backstage for the reasons I just said, because it's just they didn't want to take a chance of the crowd now cheering Seth Rollins when they really want him to be a heel now. Good evening, Hayden Barker. He's in the chat room tonight. Excellent. All right. So overall, it's better than what they've been doing with Rollins. I had a good conversation on Twitter with somebody tonight who was saying that Rollins that no matter what, this doesn't change anything for Rollins, that he's had the worst promos, he's had the worst matches of anybody on the main roster. I will concede, I will absolutely concede that Rollins as a face, with the promos they've been giving him and the storylines they've been giving him, have been atrocious. Now he's gotten crap. He hasn't delivered the crap all that well at all. There's just been a lot of garbage written for him, and one of the big things that I really initially liked about him was the ability to take garbage and kind of turn it around and still get people into him. And he kind of lost that this year, because I really do think that he wore the boos and the social media outrage toward him on his sleeve and kind of, I'm not going to say phoned it in, but some of those promos were definitely phoned in. And I think he also knew that he was getting really bad storylines, so it's kind of hard to just deliver these lines with a lot of enthusiasm. He tried his damnedest, but it just didn't get over. But for those saying that he's the worst in-ring performer, I can't give that one up. I can't say that he's the worst in-ring performer at all. He had 2 great matches against Brock Lesnar. Yeah, they're the typical Brock Lesnar formula, was all action. But I like Baron Corbin. He's kind of growing on me. But how much can you really do with Baron Corbin in a main event? The way that they've booked this stuff. He had the Stomping Grounds match where Lacey Evans was the heel referee. Can't have a good match that way. He had the Super Showdown match in Saudi Arabia. Can't have a match that great, and especially they kicked off the show. It was just a Raw match. Extreme Rules, they kind of just, they really, I don't know, this the Becky Lynch thing really actually hurt Seth Rollins' character too. It did no favors for Becky Lynch either. It took her a while to kind of get her steam back, because there's just nobody, they didn't really have any chemistry together on screen. I'm sure they have great chemistry backstage, and the chemistry enough that they got engaged. But on screen, nobody wanted to see it. Nobody was clamoring for it, and yet we got it, and that was half the summer. Nothing there. Then he had the worst build up to a main event ever. I'm not gonna say ever, but it was terrible. It was terrible. The Brock Lesnar constantly destroying Seth Rollins, and then Seth Rollins quietly talking to the microphone, "I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna beat him." I'm just like, God, it's like, who cares? Who cares? You know, that was the same thing with the WrestleMania build. He was just getting annihilated the entire time that he beats him. Cool. That's great. He slipped on a banana peel and won. Excellent. And then the Braun Strowman match, which stunk, and then Bray Wyatt, and we all know that those were legendarily bad matches now. Legendary. Especially that Hell in a Cell. That's got to be one of the worst matches of the decade. So they've crammed a lot of worst of the decades in the last few months. And we'll talk, like I said, we're going to talk about that divorce. It's just, but it's hard to say that Rollins is bad in the ring because the guy can definitely go, and it really wasn't really the in-ring work as it was just all of the crap that they threw into those matches that really handicapped him. So that's what I got to say about Seth Rollins. Okay. I'm interested to see where it goes. Seth Rollins and AOP. The beefier J&J security. Excellent. James LaSorenza. Imagine a four-way with Lana, Lashley, Becky, and Seth, and Rusev as a fifth wheel. And I mean, oh God, no. I'm not going to finish that. But Mike, do we really have to talk about the divorce? I mean, it's like, I know when something's really awful, people want to hear about how awful it was. I don't know why. You know it was awful. You don't need to hear me say it's awful. But yeah, people want to hear me say it's awful. It was terrible. This was garbage. This was almost like, let's see if this really is turn off television and have it kick off the show and see where the ratings fall. My God, this was brutal. I can't. The acting. Okay, so I'm talking about this divorce angle now because I've been shamed into it. My God, the acting that Lana was doing, the screaming and the pitiful attempts to look like she's serious. Oh my God, I have. Look, I love my students. I was involved in high school plays as well. I have, and this is not to disparage any type of high school production whatsoever. I have seen better acting in high school plays than I did on national television tonight. On a cable televised broadcast that averages about 2 million people a week. I have seen better acting in a high school theater. Lana was embarrassing. The Rusev acting like he didn't care, this and that. It just went on forever. Then they started arguing about a freaking dog. Victoria was up, and she was like, "What the hell is this crap?" She goes, "I can't believe that." She goes, "What the hell are you going to even say about this tonight? What could you possibly say?" And then I looked over, and it really just hit me. I was looking at Liliana in her little chair that vibrates and just kind of rocks her to sleep. She was there. I don't know if she was actually watching the television, but it looked like her eyes were pointed toward it. And even though she's not even close to being, she can't even, I don't even know if she can identify her hand yet. I don't know if she knows what a hand is. Let alone, like, I know that she knows sounds. I know that she knows, I know she recognizes my face and Victoria's face, but like, I felt embarrassed that she was in the room watching this, and she can't even reason yet. Oh my God, it was embarrassing. I felt like I'm embarrassed. Like, if anybody was flipping through the channels that I know and they landed on wrestling, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll think like, oh, isn't that the stuff that Mike watches and writes about? Ugh. Like, it was embarrassing. I felt embarrassed to be a fan. And again, there's going to be some idiot out there that's going to tell you it was good. And it was following the storyline, and the storyline is sound. It's not. number one, storyline sucks. It makes no friggin' sense whatsoever. They're just throwing things out there and trying to be as trashy as possible to try to get people to watch, which maybe it worked back in the day to do shock TV, but this isn't even really shocking because there's really nothing to it. It's just awful. I can't even put it into words how bad it was. But it was most assuredly once they started arguing about the dog, and I literally just put my head in my hands. I couldn't even watch anymore. I was like, they must. The only reason that they're doing this is they must be just trying to get, worst segment of the decade. Really, like they must be trying to just shoehorn that in right at the last minute to get worst segment of the decade in before 2020 hits. This was awful. James says Jerry Springer does a court show now. The talk show got canceled. Yeah, because nobody cared. Like this is like 1990s. People cared about Steve Wilkos like pulling people back. White trash and just trash in general. Not even just white trash. Just on that show. Yelling at each other and paternity tests. People still like Maury, I guess. But Jesus, it's like. Sally Jesse Raphael went the way of the dodo, Phil Donahue, the Geraldo Rivera show. Like, all those shows are gone. It's like I watch this and it's like, God, they are like 15, 20 years behind the times of what people are actually wanting to see from wrestling. Oh, yeah, it gets a lot of clicks on YouTube. Yeah, they get a lot of revenue from their YouTube videos. But at what cost? And really, honestly, it's been proven time and again that social media and YouTube views mean nothing to the bottom line. They did better than ever with views and this and that. Name your stupid statistic. Oh, they have the most followers. They have 50 million subscribers on YouTube. And then they report that revenue's down. Now, again, once these TV deals hit, I'm sure, for quarter one of 2020, the revenues are going to be sky high. Or actually, quarter four of 2019, they're going to be sky high. But it doesn't hide the fact that live event attendance is down. Televised show attendance is down. They're whittling away a fan base. And they're trying to bleed as much money as they can out of the existing fan base while trying to bleed the networks out of as much money as they possibly can for their shows and convince them that, like, oh, everything's fine. Pay no attention to the 6 million things going on over here and just look at George Barrios who's saying everything's fine. Everything's fine. Cheddar, Saudi Cash. Yeah, yes, I am aware. Fox Cash, but Mike, this isn't a live events industry anymore. But you still got to get people in the building. People need to come to the show, and less people are coming to the show. It's actually very much a live events business still. The house shows, yeah, I'll grant you, house shows don't really mean all that much, but when you're going to hot wrestling markets like Chicago and New York and Philadelphia and Los Angeles, and unless it's like a big event, you're not selling out for TV shows. That's to me, that's a troubling sign. When they returned to Madison Square Garden and they had to lower ticket prices and give things away and this and that to try to just get people in, that to me is concerning, especially because they hadn't done television in Madison Square Garden since 2009. There are issues with this company, and Lana, Rusev, and Bobby Lashley. This storyline is not going to help them anymore. It's not going to do them any good. They'll survive it, of course. They always survive this crap, but like how many lives you have to play with? Let's see. James Lesterand says it's still a big chunk of their schedule. Yeah, the house shows definitely are. I mean, I cover house shows. They do about three per brand basically per weekend. Yeah, they have a lot going on with those. Is Twitter not working for everybody out there? Because I cannot pull up for the life of me the poll talking about tonight's show. I cannot pull up the poll. So if somebody can just give me a quick update, a real update, Daniel, please don't put 69. I'm just kind of curious to see the thumbs up and thumbs down ratio if you can get on Twitter, because I can't right now. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the rest of this show. So we had the worst freaking segment of the year, and Seth Rollins heel turn. So we have some definitely news on both fronts, positive news and negative news. Let's talk about the best squash match of the year by far, in Eric Rowan's finest moment of his entire WWE career. Seriously. Luke Harper gets released and Eric Rowan is thriving. I would have absolutely thought it'd be the exact opposite, because I thought Luke Harper was just dripping with talent while Eric Rowan was the guy who was just kind of in the background. Now, this thing with what's in the cage, it's weird. I'm not gonna lie, I am curious to know what is in the cage. But I gotta tell you, I am stunned that Eric Rowan is the guy that is employed and thriving on the main roster, while Luke Harper couldn't get them to do anything with him at all. It's crazy. This was, if you didn't see it, essentially what happened was Eric Rowan was going to face a jobber. I don't even think they gave the guy a name. I rewound it, but they didn't bring up a nameplate. They didn't announce his name. The guy just, as soon as the bell rang, he ran out of the cage. He ran out of the ring and grabbed the cage and ran up the ramp with it. And Eric Rowan has to chase after him. It was, I was crying when this happened. And just looking at it now, it's just so asinine that it's even happening. Yes. That the guy runs through the crowd, gets in the ring, looks for a count out, and Eric Rowan finally realizes what's going on, gets in the ring, clobbers the guy with a crossbody, hits him with 3 Iron Claw slams. The referee stops the match, and then he just lays him out with another Iron Claw slam. Asks, "What's wrong with you? You just touched something that I love." And then he goes to the cage and goes and talks to it. This was so much fun, packed into like a minute and a half of actual action. Seriously. I loved everything about this. It was like the show was, at best, it dragged most of the time. We had like one pick-me-up with the Raw Tag Team titles, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But man, this was just like, I just needed some comedy, some real comedy. And it's like when they don't try, it works. When they don't just beat everything to death and try to make jokes and all this and that. This was awesome. This was so funny, and it was the best that Eric Rowan has looked, I think. It was easily his best, way better than any promo that he cut against Roman Reigns a couple months ago. This was, I don't know what the hell's in this cage, but they sold me. I want to know what it is. And he kind of alluded that it might be a person in there. Is it like Baby Yoda? Is it like the head of Luke Harper? What is in this cage? I don't know. But I'm more than interested in finding out. Okay, the poll, Andrew Elder says it's 37 thumbs down, thumbs up 37%, thumbs down 63%. Excellent. Okay, it's about what I thought it would be. All right, so if you haven't checked out that match, it's like 2 minutes long total of actually really good stuff. Okay, getting to the show, let's just do a quick run through of everything. They brought Matt Hardy back. He just had the third child with Rebecca Hardy. I forget what he named the kid off the top of my head. I'm not going to look it up either because I don't care. They brought him out to job to Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre mentioned that Hardy had the kid, and then he said that, oh, the kid's cross-eyed, so we know it's yours, and you better get out of the ring now and go and hold your kid, because I'm going to allow you to walk out of here if you just leave. And Hardy attacks him, hits him with a twist of fate. For Drew McIntyre squash matches where they've been doing some really vicious stuff with him, I'm going back to November when he powerbombed Sin Cara on the floor and powerbombed him out of WWE in general. Really just brutalizing Akira Tozawa with some vicious strikes last week. They've been doing some pretty rough and tough things with McIntyre. And they kind of kept it kind of tame. Although I got to say that Future Shock DDT on Hardy was pretty nasty. So far, it's just been all squashes for Drew McIntyre. He's kind of flying under the radar, not really involved in anything right now. It just feels to me like they are positioning him to be one of the favorites for the Royal Rumble this year. I'm just putting it out there. I don't think he'll actually win the Royal Rumble, but he's definitely the way they're going right now with him. It is he could be Final Four minimum. He might even be the last guy eliminated to whoever's going to win, probably Roman Reigns, but we'll see. So Matt Hardy is older, so they're going to do what they do with all older stars and just job them out. So yeah, that's a thing. They're still doing that. Viking Raiders are out in the ring. They've been looking for a challenge, but all they've encountered is victims. Now they're issuing an open challenge. The Street Profits answer the challenge. The Street Profits, who we haven't seen anything from in weeks, they're out there. The crowd kind of forgot they existed. So even though they danced through the crowd, they didn't really get much of a reaction. Although I have to say, most of the show, it's kind of hard to criticize this crowd because they kicked off with that Rusev, Lana, Bobby Lashley thing, and it really, honestly, it really did drag. I don't think they recovered from that since. I think the whole entire show they didn't recover from that. And they also took the Seth Rollins heel turn and kept it backstage. Although he did come out, I forgot to touch on this. He actually did come out and cut a full heel promo. That was better than any promo he cut this year. That's for sure. It's almost like there was a hint of real life angst to Seth Rollins' promo. I honestly believe they sent him out with just bullet points and just said, go and express your feelings and make sure you get this part in about, being with the AOP and teaming with them and why you did it. So it was effective. Not the best heel turn promo I've ever heard, but not the worst. That's for sure. Okay, back to the show. Where we're at right now. Viking Raiders versus Street Profits, all action. Right from the bell, Montez Ford jumps over Eric. Angelo Dawkins spears him, knocking Ivar off the apron, somersault plancha, spinebuster, frog splash. Ivar breaks it up, and that's like the first minute of the match. I honestly thought the Street Profits were going over. Like, wow, they're good. Okay, I guess. It's like, we can't figure any other way to get them over, so let's put the titles on them. But no, Ivar broke it up. Eventually, the Viking Raiders get the win. This didn't go through a commercial break. I would say this match lasted maybe 3 minutes tops, which is kind of a shame because you know how good these teams can be, and they didn't get a chance to really show what they can do. But hey, save it for later. Maybe they'll get a chance later on. Seth Rollins came out. He wanted to explain himself and said the Viking Raiders and Street Profits could stay, but they walked off on him, and then that just led to all the Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins things that we talked about before. Another squash match, Aleister Black versus Akira Tozawa. Now, this is another one of those ineffective squash matches that I was talking about last week. Aleister Black treated him like a regular opponent, even though everybody knew this was a squash match and that there was no way Akira Tozawa was winning. They did... Samoa Joe talked about, how he slowed the match down, and Akira Tozawa is normally human dynamite, but Aleister Black slowed him down. They hadn't even touched yet. It just so happened that the bell rang and Akira Tozawa just didn't move. So it's not really like Aleister Black slowing him down, as Akira Tozawa I guess he just showed up and didn't want to move that night. But they did chain wrestling for a little bit, headlocks and this and that, and then it's like they remembered this is a squash match. So Akira Tozawa goes for a suicide dive. He gets kneed out of midair, which was a really, really great visual. Gets him in the ring, slams him with a black mass for the win. They slow-moed that, and his face was just absolutely destroyed. Really, that part was really good. It was just like, why did we do this 2.5 minutes of nothingness that meant nothing to the match? Just to lead to this. Why couldn't we just get that immediately? Why couldn't Akira Tozawa start off like human dynamite, knock him out of the ring, go for a suicide dive, he gets kneed out of midair, black mass, done, we're done in a minute and a half. Oh, I forgot, because Raw is 3 hours long, and we have to stretch everything out to death, even at the point of damaging characters, because we have to do that. Andrew Elder says Matt's contract is up in February and March, and who is the face and heel in this match? No clue. I almost thought watching the Matt Hardy match that he's done. I think the Hardys are definitely on their way out. I don't think they're going to go online and publicly ask for their release, but I think they're going to wait it out. And I don't think we'll see Jeff ever again on the main roster unless they bring him in the Royal Rumble for the quick pop, and then that'll be the last time you see him. Most likely, I would say. Humberto Carrillo, who they went back and forth with, like, backing off on his push and jobbing him. I mean, to the point where he was supposed to get a U.S. title match, and then he just got removed from the match, and no one ever mentioned it again. Now he's backstage with Charlie Caruso. They show a video package, and he's going to be one of the main players on Raw in 2020 all of a sudden. It's like, I mean, wow. Okay. Got it. He gets him a shoving match with Andrade. No one really knows why, and then the commentators actually did explain it. It was that Zelina Vega walked up, and he said ladies first, and Andrade got mad because he said ladies first. They actually went on to have a really good match. High flying, hard hitting. There's a lot of fun stuff contained in this. It actually made Humberto Carrillo look great. Andrade looks great, and this is his first loss on Raw, apparently. I didn't even notice because Andrade's been such a non-factor on Raw that I hadn't even noticed that he had a winning streak this entire time. But apparently this is his first loss since moving over to Raw. But it was excellent. Really, really just an excellent match. Did a lot for Humberto Carrillo. They kind of teased that Andrade and Zelina Vega were going to break up. And Billy Hefner said, are they going to break? Because we text all the time, especially during Raw. He goes, are they breaking up Andrade and Zelina Vega? And I go, that would be dumb. So yes, they probably are going to break them up because that's just what they do. The dumbest idea usually is the one that prevails at the end of the day. But we'll see how long this iteration of Humberto Carrillo's push lasts this time. As for Andrade, so talented, got so much going for him. What are they doing with him on Raw? They have no clue. I mean, he is supremely more talented and, in my opinion, marketable than Humberto Carrillo, but they're not gonna do anything with him. So either send him back down to NXT where they can kind of figure out what to do with him, or cut your losses. Like, what are we doing here? God, I know he's not going to leave, and he's not going to go down to NXT because he's dating Charlotte Flair, but damn, that's the best they have for him. Zack Ryder versus Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy is facing Aleister Black at TLC. Honestly, this match was completely forgotten about because immediately after Kevin Owens beat up the SUV and Seth Rollins did the heel turn. So I didn't even put a comment about it on the Raw recap because this was just such a non-factor. Buddy Murphy got the win over Zack Ryder. Duh. Okay squash match. Zack Ryder is really good at the squash match. Years and years ago, on a little show called Wrestleview Telemundo, Greg McNeish made the case for why Zack Ryder is an excellent job guy rather than a star talent. And he was right. This was a very good squash match from Zack Ryder. He knows how to do it. 2-on-1 handicap match, Becky Lynch versus the Kabuki Warriors. This is the first time we've seen Becky Lynch since losing at Survivor Series, on TV at least. We've seen her in exclusive videos, but nothing since Survivor Series. This match, and now I know I said that the handicap match was boring last week. It was, but it wasn't bad. Charlotte Flair and Asuka, great chemistry. And Kairi Sane can hang in there, even though hasn't really made a great transition over to Raw and live television so much. But it's really startling how big a difference in talent, in in-ring talent, that there is from Charlotte Flair to Becky Lynch. I was not feeling Becky Lynch in this match at all. She just looked out of place. Just looked like she was trying to remember spots. Her offense isn't great. They botched a side slam. I don't know. It's like the Becky Lynch thing is kind of like, like she's great. She's great on the promo. Really, really good on the promo, and she can have a good match with the right opponent. But sometimes on like a random Raw match, she just looks. It's just not good. She can't carry a match, and especially in a handicap match where you have to really, in order to get over, you have to really show something, to the crowd to get them into you. It just looked like she was trying to just get through it rather than like connecting. I just wasn't I wasn't feeling like a real connection here tonight. Quentin Walters, Becky looked empty tonight. Yeah, I agree. That's that's the best way to put it. I'm going to move on right from there. Anyway, she wins by disqualification because Asuka hits her in the ribs with a steel chair, and then Kairi Sane annihilates her with an awesome, insane elbow through a table at ringside. You guys see this. This is pretty cool. And Nostradamus over here, I really went out on a limb with this guess. I said, looking like a women's tag team TLC match, perhaps? Oh, Nostradamus got it correct. Charlotte Flair checks on Becky Lynch, then she gets attacked by the Kabuki Warriors. The Kabuki Warriors lay down the challenge, and then Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch are just sitting backstage and like, we gotta accept and let's do it in a TLC match. I really took a flyer there. Oh boy. Oh, I'm the Nostradamus of professional wrestling. And finally, we get our main event. Now we're at the main event. And it's AJ Styles versus Rey Mysterio, two of the all-time great workers in professional wrestling history. And they go on to have a good match. They're hitting all their spots. They're doing everything great. And then it's 10:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over here. And I'm like, okay, when's Randy Orton running in? Mysterio was going to go for a Super Hurricane Rana off the top rope, and I'm sure AJ Styles was supposed to counter into a second rope Styles Clash, which honestly, they should do that move so sparingly. Number one, because the Styles Clash is a legitimately dangerous move. We've seen it break necks and really hurt people. And number two, if you're going to do something so dangerous, especially doing it off the ropes, you should make it special and mean something. It shouldn't just be a throwaway spot. They do so many things that are just throwaway spots. It's like even like the Aleister Black Akira Tozawa thing. Like, he need him in the face doing a suicide dive. Like, isn't that enough? Like why do we have to continue the match after that, even though it ended quickly? There's dangerous planchas in almost every single match that could easily blow out a knee. If you get your foot caught up in the ropes, you're in trouble. We've seen Sasha Banks almost kill herself for throwaway spots a lot of times. We've seen a lot of people be injured on throwaway spots that meant nothing. Like, does everything have to be done to death just to get the crowd to go, ooh? You can condition the crowd to care about a story again if you bother to tell the damn story. Whatever happened to like working the old body part? Oh, he injured his shoulder, injured his arm, he injured his leg. Everything's just, there's no transition moves, there's no submissions, everything's just a chin lock for a rest hold. It's like, pick a different body part. There's other things that you could possibly do, for God's sake. But like a Styles Clash off the second rope, like that makes me lose my mind when I see that. Anyway, they were going for it and they botched it. AJ Styles fell off the ropes. Mysterio almost got spiked on his head, but he grabbed the ropes and it looked horrible. So then AJ Styles gave him a vicious powerbomb. I mean, like, you could just see Ray's head, the back of his head just literally just slam off the mat like a freaking ball against a wall. It was insane. Looked nasty. And then he hit him with a Styles Clash. A regular Styles Clash, which is devastating in and of itself. And then Randy Orton runs in, winks at him, and then it's 11 o'clock. And they have the copyright logo in the corner of the screen. And Rey Mysterio rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. It's like they just made it. And I forget the ring announcer's name, Mike, whatever. They're stupid. Like, these guys are so interchangeable. He goes, "You're a winner," and still, Modern Family. They didn't even get through the announcement, and this show ended. They cut it this close. It's about as close as I've seen. There's only one time they missed it, was when the Undertaker was out there. And all we missed was like 30 seconds where he said "rest in peace," but they felt strongly enough about it to put it on YouTube immediately after. But damn, on a 3-hour show, you run out of time? Come on. Something could have been cut shorter. Maybe Rusev and Lana arguing about a damn dog. Ay, ay, ay. But what they wound up having in the main event was a good match, and unfortunately, that botch really, really brought things down. It brought down the tone of the match, hurt it. So that was Monday Night Raw. It was a really weird episode. It's like, even the main event, it started off good, got weird with the botch, and then Mysterio won with a countout and with milliseconds to spare. Seth Rollins turns heel. Newsworthy, probably one of the more newsworthy storyline happenings of the year, arguably. I mean, say what you want about Seth Rollins, whether you like him or you don't, he's still a major player, and a major player turning heel is a big deal. So there's that. And then you had, on the same episode, the worst segment, one of the worst segments I've ever seen in professional wrestling. I even texted Jerome from who reports for the website as well, and I said, like, I don't even know if Vince Russo would book something this awful. I know I'm wrong, but it's like, God, like, this is so bad. All on the same show, and then you have the most brilliant squash match I've ever seen with Eric Rowan and some local loser that they didn't even bother to give a name to. This is just a weird show, a really, really weird show. Definitely the weirdest of 2019. What say you in the chat room? Do you give it a thumbs up, thumbs down? I don't know how to feel about this show. It's like, I want to give it a thumbs up for the Seth Rollins heel turn, just because it's like, okay, it was well done. But I want to give it a massive thumbs down for the horrible Rusev, Lana, Bobby Lashley debacle. And they're going to do it at TLC, by the way. It looks like. They didn't announce it, but it looks like it's going to happen at TLC. I got to give it a thumbs down. I have to make a decision. I can't do thumbs in the middle. I got to do thumbs down. It's a thumbs down show for me. Even though I kind of liked aspects of it. Reading the recap was better than watching Raw. Even watching post-Raw was better. Thank you, Quentin. I really appreciate that. Andrew Elder gives it a thumbs down. Daniel Schell, of course, gives it a thumbs in the middle. Andrew Elder says we got 38% thumbs up, 62% thumbs down on Twitter. Okay. Thumbs in the middle or we riot, Daniel Schell says. Oh, God, this guy. James Lasserenza, I didn't watch it, but thank you for watching it for us. Okay, thank you. Quentin Walters, thumbs down times 64. Okay, I like that. All right. As these thumbs down continue to come in, I'm going to update you. Billy Hefner, thumbs down because I had to watch the Open with my aunt. Yeah, that's pretty humiliating to watch with a family member who's not interested, who's a cat, maybe has a casual interest in wrestling. All right, let's talk Crimbus. I have been in touch with my predecessor, Mr. Adam Martin. And we are looking to do this the weekend of the 21st. I don't know if it's going to be... I think it's going to be the Saturday. So it'll be Saturday the 21st is what we're looking to do for Crimbus. Yes, Hunter is supposed to be joining. Tom Van Stone is supposed to be joining. You never know. You never know who's going to show up. Last year, it was crazy. Last year was my first Crimbus, by the way. I'd never watched or been a part of a Crimbus before, and I hadn't talked to Hunter Golden in years at that point, and he was on the show. I talked to him. Tom Van Stone. Dave Stevens was on the show. Goosey made an appearance, but I think he got too drunk and just started snoring. Yeah, it was interesting. So you never know who's going to show up this year. Daniel Schell's asking if Victoria. I'm going to say 98.7621% chance that Victoria will be on the show. And in fact, I can almost guarantee she's going to be on the show. I'm just being facetious. Obviously, it's a great honor what's going on. The money is going towards a great cause to kind of alleviate some of the stress for bills and all the things that have to go on with having a child, especially one that is born with a condition. There will most likely be a baby appearance as well. I don't know if she'll actually be up for it, Liliana, or if we'll just put a picture of her up. We have tons of cute pictures. For those that are friends with me on Facebook, there will be her infant photo shoot was this weekend. She's adorable. The good news is we visited her neurosurgeon This past week on Wednesday, we drove down to Philadelphia, visited with her neurosurgeon, and she is scheduled for surgery in January, late January, around the 20. It's either going to be the 21st or the 24th, and the prognosis is just even better than we could have even thought. Really, like things are trending in the right direction. Knock wood. Continue to pray for her. We have I know we have a lot of people tugging on God's ear for us. Please continue to do so if you're praying for her. If you believe in prayer, keep sending them over to her because it's working. There's a lot of great things that are happening in her life right now. And of course, we'll go into more detail about that on Crimbus. I'll even, we'll even go into detail about what more about this condition. It's rare. Luckily for us at Shop, even though it's rare, they see it a lot. It's like one of those things where it's like, it's rare, but not rare for us. So she has the best neurosurgeon for children. One of the best, if not the best neurosurgeon for children in America operating on her. I mean, this guy, if anybody remembers those two twins that were conjoined by the tops of their head, I think it was 2017. The neurosurgeon that's operating on Liliana planned that surgery and successfully executed that surgery, and those kids are alive because of him. So that's like, we got, like, when I say we have the best neurosurgeon, I am not kidding. This guy is legitimately amazing. Hayden's asking if there's any hydrocephalus. No. Thankfully, there is no hydrocephalus because this is a closed form of spina bifida, and it's spina bifida without being spina bifida, if that makes any sense. It's called a lipomyelomeningocele. So it basically, what it is a fatty lipoma has tethered to her spinal cord, and there is some spinal fluid in there, but it's all contained in lower back. So there's nothing going to the head. So mercifully, there's always a chance for it, especially after surgery, but we're really hopeful that we'll clear that hurdle. Believe me, when I say this is all good news, it's all good news. We just keep getting better and better, and the thoughtfulness and the honor that you're bestowing on my family, for Crimbus, is overwhelming. So we can't thank you enough. We're looking forward to the 21st. I believe that is going to be the date that's going to be nailed down completely. We're looking forward to that show like you couldn't even believe. It's going to kick the holiday season off the right way. So with that, and then I think I'm going to take like a 2-week break from the post Raw show after that, because it'll be the 23rd and the 29th after that. So I think we're 23rd and the 30th. Yeah, actually, it'll be the 30th. So I think I'm going to take 2 weeks off. We'll see, though. I think I'm still going to do the Raw recaps, but I don't know if I'll do post-Raw. We shall see. Anyway, stay tuned for more updates on that. I am really happy to share all that information with you. And that's it. That's all I got for you this week. So, 69% thumbs down for me. Tribute to Daniel Shield. And we'll sign off on that. Okay, so this Sunday, make sure you tune in because there will be Wrestleview Live Daniel Shell. You better be there, Daniel Shell. You better be, because this is the official episode number 69 of Wrestleview Live. WWE TLC will be covering me, and Doug Lackey will be covering this show. You better be there, Daniel Shell. You better be there. Everybody else, I hope you show up, but Daniel Shell, you have to be there. It's number 69. You better be there, or I'm going to be pissed. I'm coming to find you. On that note, have a good one, everybody. I'm Mike Tedesco. I'll see you on Sunday. Take care, everybody.